Rounding out Pool E, it's the Mindfreak Slayers in Vanity. Again, the Excalibur squad with the top 12 finish. This American team is looking to make more waves, as they not only were able to do so at Miami, but looking to do the exact same thing here when it comes to World Championships. Had a chance to sit and talk briefly with Owakening on the team and their chances. All that coming up. What up, COD fans? Welcome back to another 32 on 32. Good to see you guys back again, and we're dealing with Vanity, a team that honestly has me feeling a whole bunch of feelings, a bunch of different ways, honestly, as well, because this squad surprised everybody and took kind of the open stream by storm when they were able to take down Mindfreak in round 2 of the winners bracket. They would then go on to eventually finish top 12, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows for this squad, as they put together a very hard-fought bracket all the way through. They only dealt with an 11-10 map record all the way up to the top 12 spot, and beyond that, they're in a very interesting pool to consider. So let's break things down, take a look at this pool as we're going forward. Again, Luminosity is the front runner here as the number 1 seed in Pool E. UYU is the other top CWL squad that would be playing here. We already broke down Singularity in a video just previously, and they're looking like a very big powerhouse out of the UK with their top 6 finish, and then we have Vanity to round things out. Again, this is the one pool I think that's out there, and really it would have been, I think, just dependent on wherever UYU went, but I think with Luminosity here as well, this pool is 100% up for grabs for just about any of these teams, I think, just generally speaking, because of the fact that UYU has looked so weak. Luminosity, of course, looking very, very strong, but will that stay? That's been one of the big concerns for LG over the course of this year, is will they consistently be that top performer that we want them to? Singularity also has a lot of weight behind them and clout behind them as far as their team experience. 4 of those 5 members have been sticking together for some time. So when it comes to Vanity, what are we going to expect from a team like this? Well, you go back to their time at Vegas. There was no time at Vegas. The only player who played was Willett, and that was a top 112 finish with Hybrid Gaming. You go to Fort Worth. No experience there either. It was D'Lo who got himself his first LAN of the year, as he finished top 48 with War, and Willett again responds back, top 48 with Hybrid. You go to London. No one was able to make the trip. Top 24 finish on J4L for Willett. And then this team comes together, with the exception of Willett, at Anaheim, where Owakening, Reaper, D'Lo, Landon, they all finished top 48 under the banner of Excalibur. Okay, not bad. Not bad at all. And Encrypted was the team that Willett would play for, and he made a lot of waves there as far as getting his name known. Then they would finally pick up Willett as the 5th man, and the results were beating Mindfreak, which, again, we say that very often because it merits to be said, and they finished top 12. But before we go super far into this team as a whole, I want to talk about what their run looked like when it came down to their time at Miami, because it wasn't very pretty. They go map 3 versus Mindfreak. They win. They go map 3 versus the Friesen clan, which has Negs in the gang. They win. They go map 5 with Fuego and barely win. That was the qualifying match that they had. They would then go up against Team War, and that was the squad that would eventually send them down to the losers bracket. You go down to that losers bracket, and that's where things end immediately. It's 2 losses in a row. They lose the Singularity, again, in their pool, in map 4. So again, there's a lot of things to consider as far as, is this team up to the same caliber as some of the other squads, or did they get lucky coming on through? I personally think that this team has looked very, very clean. It just comes down to, again, they played some pretty tough opponents. That Friesen clan was actually pretty darn good. For a round 3 matchup, the harder opponent that they could have possibly pulled was like Giants. That's like, or you know, like on their side of the bracket, and Giants are still pretty far down. So on their side of the bracket, them beating Mindfreak, they kind of take that number 1 spot, if you want to consider it, and they're able to go through opponents that you're obviously a little bit on the middle of the road, which is why they kind of find themselves in that favor. Again, a 64th seed going into Miami, and they finished top 12. That match versus Singularity is an interesting one, and I had a chance to at least pick the brain of Owakening a little bit on it. But again, the Singularity squad's very, very good. And for me, when it comes down, and we have a lot of this, where an open bracket team that got knocked out, whether it be from the winners bracket or in total, they have a chance for a rematch against that squad in their pools. And there is no better instance of that than this one right here. Reaper, Owakening, D'Lo, Landon, I've seen those guys at pretty great length when it comes to the CMG broadcasts that I do. But beyond that, this is a squad that I saw play during the scouting grounds, and they looked a little rough around the edges. In fact, they got beat in 4 maps against a squad that I would never have given the time of day to when it comes down to playing up against this Vanity squad as a whole. Again, after what we saw at Miami, again, they were very, very impressive. Kind of took us all by storm, not only by beating Mindfreak, but how they looked in their other games following that. So when it comes down to how do you grow, how do you gain, and do you have the ability to possibly break your way through this World Championship pool with Luminosity and UYU also above you, as well as your counterpart, I guess we'll call them in Singularity, what kind of approach do you take? What are your keys to success? Fortunately, I had a brief moment to share an interview with Owakening, who was able to give me some answers and shed some light on the whole situation. Joining me now from Vanity, I've got Owakening, a name that if you've been following along with the Tier 2 scene, I'm sure you probably are familiar with in some fashion. Of course, the new brand of Vanity. So first and foremost here, Awakening, you have my attention. I just want to kind of go through some of the initial kind of things from Miami leading up to now. Obviously, the change from organizations from Excalibur to Vanity, but the same 5 guys are here, and you guys had a very good performance, obviously at Miami, but a lot of work had been done from your improvement from what was a top 48 finish to what you guys were able to do at Miami.
Yeah. You know, at Anaheim, we were confident going in, but I don't know, man. When we got there, we saw the bracket, and I don't know, we just didn't play as good as we thought we were going to, and we got top 48.
At Miami, you guys had, again, a lot of people would say a very unfortunate bracket because you guys had to go up against Mindfreak so early, but that didn't seem to be much of a problem for you guys. So when it comes to improving for my Anaheim, you mentioned a tough bracket there, but to beat Mindfreak, was it just you guys feeling super prepared, or did you just have some kind of kryptonite towards Mindfreak's success?
Oh no, we were really prepared, but we knew we were their first match and they weren't going to be really warmed up, so we knew we had the upper hand in that situation. And then we got into the match and we played pretty good against them.
Now, a lot of you guys from this squad have had some chances to play together on online tournaments in specific, but was Anaheim the first time that you guys had a chance to really actually meet in person, or do you have familiarity with some of these other guys in the roster beforehand?
Oh no, that was the first time we met in person. That was my first LAN ever.
That was your first LAN ever? I didn't realize that. I thought you had been playing throughout most of the year at like locals and stuff like that.
No.
Oh, that's awesome. So now you guys looking forward, you have the success at Miami. You're going to be at World Championships, obviously, as the 4th seed going into Pool E. Honestly, a lot of people are looking at this pool, and the general consensus seems to be that if there were a pool for a squad to come in the 3rd or the 4th seed from the open bracket and finish top 2, it could potentially be this one due to the fact that UYU has not looked super strong, but again, more specifically, you guys in Singularity have some experience against each other, as Singularity was the team to eventually end your run. So can you kind of speak a little bit as far as how you guys have been able to improve since Miami to be able to go right back up against Singularity and maybe some of your strengths versus a team like UYU?
Yeah, you know, we got home, we got back in the lab, and we looked at all our mistakes, and you know, right now we're starting to look really good. Like we're scrimming, and we're looking pretty good against these top teams. So Singularity, it should be a good match. Hopefully we come out on top. And UYU, we're pretty confident against because, I don't know, we're always going to win the S&D in the series. So we just have to pull one hard point or one control. So we're pretty confident in playing any series.
Now, I will say, after talking to a number of other teams that are kind of in the same spot as you guys, you know, in the 3rd or the 4th spot as an open team, it seems that there's a lot of weight when it comes down to we have to win the Search and Destroy. Are you guys looking at Map 2 as a must-win for you guys to potentially take a set off of a team like Luminosity?
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, we're so confident in our S&D that we don't even worry about it. Like we know we're gonna win it.
And it was actually interesting. I had a chance to cast you guys a couple of weeks ago during the CMG scouting grounds, where things were kind of going a little bit awry when it comes to Respawn in specific. Have you guys done much work when it comes to, you know, maybe playing around with the different roles, or is it just one of those things that they, you know, those teams kind of maybe caught you a little bit off guard when it came to the Respawns in specific?
Yeah, we're changing up our rules a tiny bit. Like on some maps, I'm using a SOG, and some maps, like I'm using all 3 guns right now, so that's kind of tough. But I don't know. They caught us off guard a little bit as well.
And just to kind of wrap things up really quickly here, again, you're dealing with a squad that is, I won't say inexperienced, but young when it comes down to it as far as the overall age of the group as a whole. And it kind of seems like Willet's been the guy to kind of step up and maybe lead a little bit of the driving force. Could you speak a little bit as far as Willet being that kind of new guy to the role, or to the team rather, since Miami? You guys didn't have a chance to play with him in Anaheim, but what does he bring to this squad that makes him so special in your guys' performances?
Yeah, I mean, without Willett, we would have never got. We wouldn't have qualified for champs. Like
Mm.
that guy he's a really good teammate. Like so Anaheim as well. Like we had no teamwork with our team, and then going into Miami, we picked up Willett, and he's really good. He's a grapple slug, and we need that. And I don't know, man. He brings the teamwork together, and he's just really good.
Well, it definitely has risen you guys to the occasion. Best of luck, obviously, at World Champs. Hopefully, you guys find some success in the pool. It should be a really fun one to watch. I know I got a lot of eyes on that one in specific. So, thank you so much again, Awakening, for joining me tonight.
Yep, no problem.
Man of very few words, but I think very impactful words is Awakening, and I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do the interview with me, buddy. I really appreciate that. And again, I guess my biggest thing is when it comes down to this pool as a whole, there are just so many things that could happen. If we're anticipating, I think a lot of people, you look at this pool and the names on the paper, and you're sitting there saying, well, LG wins all 3 games. I don't think that's 100% secured. Simply due to the fact that Singularity is as strong as they are, and Vanity is used to being the underdog. And let's be honest, they've looked very good when they are that underdog. It just comes down to the caliber of opponents they're going to be going up to against when it comes down to Mindfreak, who, like they even mentioned, that was their first match of the day. Who knows how warm they were? Who knows what happened? Mindfreak did not look very good throughout the entirety of that Miami bracket. So do we really staple that as being this Vanity team is good because they beat Mindfreak, or is it they beat Mindfreak because they caught him on an off moment? I can't give you the answer for sure. I will say, though, that my faith in this squad, after seeing them play during the scouting grounds and having a number of kind of confusing moments on the respawn specifically, my faith has gone down, not significantly, but at least enough to say that I don't think they're going to finish top 2 in this pool. It's going to be tough. It just flat out. So many things are going to have to go right for them. They have to beat Singularity. They have to beat UYU. And if they can find a way to beat Luminosity, it makes the road that much easier. But again, that's not an easy task to beat Luminosity. So personally, again, like I mentioned in my Singularity video, I've got Singularity finishing 2nd in this pool, Luminosity in 1st, and I've got Vanity somewhere in the 3rd or 4th, depending on what happens with them in UYU, I think is kind of how I'm framing this one up. But again, I would not be surprised, I think is the biggest thing. This team has shown a lot of potential before. They've showed how clean they can be. Again, my kind of faith-reducing moment with them was on an online game, so how much can you really take for, your full consideration, knowing that it's an online match that was played, and how touchy that can be. I think, honestly, this is going to be a very interesting game, a very interesting pool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Again, we've got tons more videos to go through. We're not anywhere near done yet. So make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell to know when my videos do pop up for you guys to get information on not only this pool, but also pools either before or following it. Until the next video. Hope you guys keep holding it down. Later, bye-bye.